welcome back everybody to episode 5 of the Bucs UK TV podcast. This week we are talking rivalries, division rivalries, NFL rivalries, probably even sibling rivalries. Whoever you hate the most, this is where we're going to vent about it this week. And we have a new presenter with us this week. But first of all, returning, Alex.
Hi there, everybody.
And El Capitan Phil.
Hi, everybody.
And the new face this week, Graeme. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, yeah, my name's Graeme Reid, currently residing in Edinburgh. I've been a Buccaneer fan since 1986. I'm one of the old brigade along with Phil. First visited family out in Tampa in 1986 and basically cottoned on from there. First game, 1992, I saw them hammering the Green Bay Packers 31-3. First 3 games were wins, and I haven't seen us win a game since. So maybe I'm a bit of a hex now, but there you go. I joined the Bucs UK back about 93, 94 thereabouts. I think there were only maybe about 20 or 30 folk in the club around that time, and it's been fantastic to see it develop and grow over the years. The culminating, I guess, in the visits to the UK and the fantastic experience that we've had with meeting the players, former players, all the cheerleaders, and all the great involvement we've had actually with the club themselves and the players. So it's been a fantastic experience over the years to be a member of the club, and long may it continue. I must admit, I've made some lifelong friends out of it and enjoyed it.
And for those of us watching stateside and wondering where the subtitles are, a bit like last week when we had Tim Lewis.
That's me trying to speak slowly. That's me speaking slowly, I can assure you.
Our good friend Graeme is from North England, or as he calls it, Scotland. So anyway, let's get on with the show. Last week, the Cayman Islands branch, it gets even further away than Scotland. Renzo from Cayman, he posed us all a question. He said, who do we think is going to have the most TDs this season for the Bucs? And is Tom Brady going to reach 4,000, 5,000 yards? We're not quite sure. So we asked our members what their views were. So Alex, what do you think to an answer to Renzo's questions then?
Well, I think in terms of who's going to lead the Bucs in TDs this season, I think it's probably between 3 players for me, and that's, if you argue, you could say it's the obvious 3: Gronk, Evans, and Godwin. I think if I had to choose one of the 3, I'm going to go for the man who I've got on my jersey, my favourite player with us at the minute, and I think Mike Evans is going to be leading the team with the touchdowns come the end.
That's a good call. Graeme, what do you think about touchdowns?
Yeah, I'm a big Mike Evans fan too, I must admit. Brady and Evans could go one of 2 ways. Sometimes new quarterback finds a new guy to link up with, becomes his go-to guy, probably like he did with Edelman at New England. But I think he could take Mike Evans to a new level. I think this could be a real breakout year for a guy who's already at top level.
Phil, are you going to break the Evans trend, or are you in the fan club too?
No. I'm going to go with Godwin. I just think this player's matured year in, year out. He's got better and better and better. And can you imagine if you're a defensive coordinator for your opposition and I want you to mark Gronk and Evans, Godwin. Oh, they've got that guy Howard as well. Yeah. So basically, all this is going to come at you. And I think this is one of the reasons why you're going to find that Godwin is going to rise to the top. I really do.
Yeah, there's a really interesting professional dynamic I can see through the press and on Twitter between Godwin and Evans. They're really very respectful of each other, given that they are both number 1 receivers by any measure.
I think the point that Phil makes there is really interesting, because ultimately, some of our players are going to be put in double coverage by the defense. So you're going to have someone left open. Is that going to be Evans and Gronk who's put in double coverage with Godwin left open? Is it going to be Godwin and Evans with Gronk left open? It's going to be depending, I think, on who's left in single coverage, who's going to get most of those touchdowns, I think.
And if you're looking for a quarterback that can pick that up, you're looking for Tom Brady, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that was the second part of Renzo's question then. I mean, that poor guy is going to be icing his shoulder every week with those guys. How many yards is he going to rack up, do you reckon, Graeme?
Well, looking back, I think last year he had about 4,000 for New England. I'm thinking this year he's got a better double threat with Godwin and Evans. But the perennial question with Tampa Bay, we've had good quarterbacks in the past. Can we protect them? If the offensive line really kind of steps up, yeah, I could see him back around the 4,000 mark, maybe above. But I would say I'd be happy if he gets 4,000 this year.
What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I think he'll get over 4,000 this year, because, but like Graham says, if the offensive line, we could have a whole podcast on our offensive line, but I think he'll have 4,000 yards this year. I think but I don't think the big long passes. I think you'll see the short dump off passes, and it's going to be interesting how Howard goes on this year as well.
Yeah, if he could catch a football the way he caught a baseball, if you remember that game, we'd be laughing.
Yeah.
Alex, who do you think? What do you think for yards?
Yeah, I think he'll certainly get 4,000, like the rest of us believe he will. I think 5,000 will be a bit of a push for him, but certainly I can see him getting 4,000 with who we've got in terms of his weapons. The list is endless, the amount of weapons we've got. I think Brady can easily do it.
Yeah, do you know we've not even spoken about the real threat out the backfield? I think a lot of coverage on the wide receivers is going to release the guys out the backfield too. I think there's incredible potential there.
Well, actually, my pick for most TDs, Rojo.
Yeah.
It's funny you should say that, Kieron, because I think last year, was it White, the running back for New England, Brady relied on him so heavily as a receiving, running back who is good at a receiver. So I think Rojo is also a very good shout there.
And not since Warwick Dunn have we really had a receiving back out of the backfield.
Yeah.
Anyway, we asked our members, and our members were delightful to chip in, and we asked them their opinion on what they thought for Renzo's questions, and hopefully with the magic of technology. So Guy Mills, he plain and simple, 2 words, Mike Evans. I think Tom will be between 4 and 5K. Should be a scary looking offense. That chimes with what we were saying.
Yeah, that sums it up there. Yeah.
And Mariana, tough one. I'm going to go to Mike Evans for the most TDs, that is, but I think it might be more shared out than previous years. Between 8 to 10 touchdowns for Evans and Godwin, 6 to 8 for Gronk and the Bray. And just doing some basic math, if you say that's 2 lots of 10 and 2 lots of 8, well, so that's 36 touchdowns just to the receivers. So I think there's some fairly bold predictions going on there. But you know what? I like it.
Yeah. Bit of a Pete Payne thing going on there. Isn't there?
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so on to our main part of the episode. We're going to talk about rivalries, and where else better to start than the NFC South? The people we have to play home and away, year in, year out, the ones we know the best. Graeme, so, looking through our division opponents, kind of who's the one that gets you riled up?
I think they all do. They always have done from back in the old NFC kind of central days when it was Chicago and Green Bay, and you really hated these guys because they filled our stadium. Division. Yeah, absolutely, and their fans filled our stadium. It was awful, but really quickly developed strong rivalries with all the teams in the NFC South. I think it's probably been one of the toughest divisions over the last 10 years. I think all 3 of our rivals in the division have all been to the Super Bowl in that time. We're the only one that hasn't within the new setup. So it's been a very tough division. I like to think that Carolina, since Cam Newton came in, I think that's probably the one I've tended to really want to beat every year. But I enjoy the games, particularly with New Orleans. I think over the years we've had a few right good shootouts with them that have been really enjoyable, both in New Orleans and in Raymond James. So I like the division. I love the division. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to get out of.
And if you had to pick one, who's the one you look forward to most?
I like playing Carolina, which is why I was really looking forward to the game at Tottenham Hotspur last season up until the first play.
Well, I it didn't get much better from that if you did it.
It started badly and went downhill very quickly, yeah.
Phil, as our more tenured member, you've had your fair share of divisional clashes you've witnessed over the years. What do you reckon?
I think, I was talking earlier on about this, and I think that our biggest rivals this year is going to be the Falcons. I really do. They've strengthened the defense, which is pretty good anyway. And they've got an unknown quantity in Gurley, as in they don't know how injured he's going to be. But So I think the Falcons are going to be a big threat this year. Julio Jones fit. You've got the Calvin Ridley on the other side, and they've also got this guy from Ravens, Hayden Hurst, tight end. Very, very good player. So they've strengthened quite a lot in all areas, and I just think that they're gonna cause. And the other reason is as well is that the other two are a bit on the slide. I think the other two are on the slide because the best NFL news I've heard this year is that Luke Kuechly is going to retire. And he's been a thorn in our side for too many years. That man has, And so I think the other two are on a bit of a rebuild now. So I think it's going to be the Falcons this year for us.
Okay, so Alex, Phil says Falcons. Do you agree with that?
Originally, I didn't, and then me and Bill were having a chat before we were recording, and because originally I said the Saints. I think it's going to be between us and them for the division, and then Bill reminded me about the improvements that Atlanta have made on the offensive side. I think they're going to be a much bigger threat offensively this year than they were last year. If you look at their defense, they used the draft to focus on their defense. They've still got some good players in there. Yes, they've lost Luke Kuechly, but that doesn't make them any less of a defense as far as I'm concerned. And of course, they've got like Phil says, although he's an unknown quantity, they have got Todd Gurley, who, if you look at his record with the Rams, he was phenomenal. If he brings that over to the NFC South, it's going to make things really difficult.
So it's interesting, actually, that none of you have really picked up on the Saints. I think when we had the schedule look ahead, I think it was the game that we sort of were most anticipating. That week one straight out the gate. So Phil, why? Are the Saints not? We seem to always play them, and it's always close.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm thinking about the Saints. I think this one was all. I'm excited for this game for another reason though. It's Breeze versus Brady, and that's one of the main reasons. And they've got a backup quarterback who I can't remember his name, and I think that's the big thing about that game. And really that game is a tester of how far we think they've come, the Buccaneers. Just everybody's saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that. That game will tell us a lot.
Well, do you know what? I think it will, and I think it won't, because Drew Brees is in the same playbook for the last 57 years, and Tom Brady's got a new one. So if we win that week one, we're going to the Super Bowl, and if we lose week one, then everyone's getting fired. It's one of those things.
I mean, one thing just to say about the Saints though is that they still have. The weapons they've got in terms of offense is still extremely scary. They've got Michael Thomas, of course, who is. I'm not going to say he's better than Brady. I'm not going to say that. I've had a load of Saints fans on Twitter tweeting about that. I'm not going to go around there at all. But they've is their tight end? Is it Cook? Is that their tight end? Whatever his name is, he's phenomenal. Then they've got Alvin Kamara out the backfield as well. Breeze hasn't lost a step. He's still a very good quarterback. So you certainly can't rule the Saints out. They're definitely going to be up there. But
I think for rivalries for me with the Saints, it's their fans. They're just used to winning. I think just that. I just want to shut them all up. Again, in Raymond James, you just kind of when I was there a couple of years ago, and Godwin caught that winner in the corner of the end zone with like 3 seconds left on the clock. There were just a whole bucket load of Saints fans behind me that just threw all their beer on the floor and sulked off, and that made my day more than winning.
Do you know something? One of the biggest mistakes the Saints have made, and is letting Mark Ingram go to Baltimore. That guy was a workhorse. He was there. Mike Allstott. He was the one that carried the load, and Kamara was nowhere near as effective as last season as he was the season before. And I think that's one of them. They made a big mistake letting him go. Big mistake.
Anyway, again, we asked our fans, our members, what they thought about all of this, and they had some very strong opinions. You'll be unsurprised to hear. Steve Gargett, I dislike Carolina intensely.
Always like Steve.
And always see our divisional games as a grudge match. This predates Cam, and maybe because the first time I saw the Bucs lose a game in person was against the Panthers. And then he said something about cheerleaders, which we can't really publish. The judge, he's a very good judge of character. Until recently, he would have said the Panthers. Doesn't everyone hate them? But 2 QB moves change the narrative here now. Newton is gone, so we don't have to put up with his antics or dress sense now. Jameis is going to the Saints. Means for me that they become our greatest divisional rival. So exactly what you guys were saying as well. And then Tom said, for me, it's currently the Saints. I think they've been the most consistent and been looked upon by many as the strongest side in our division for a number of years. I definitely feel most pleased with a victory against them. So I think there's definitely consensus there. We all hate everyone else in the NFC South, and we will pick apart the rest of the NFL shortly. But before we do that, well, first of all, we have to say thank you to Bucs Report, who we have now teamed up with, and they are being very kind. They distribute and promote a lot of Bucs podcasts. So they've decided to bring us on board, and we're really delighted to be part of that. So thank you to Bucs Report. And also, Phil, do you want to tell us a little bit about the competition we've got this year?
Yes, well, our big competition always has been is the ultimate competition. And this year, very excited to say what the prize is this year. Done a lot of research into this, and there it is. It was the game ball that was presented to our cornerback Brian Kelly after their 34-10 win in at the Bucs Stadium. And you've all seen the videos where the coach is in there and the game ball goes to, well, John Gruden presented one to the whole of the defense, and this is Brian Kelly's. And Brian Kelly, a bit of an unsung hero, really, isn't he? I mean, he played for us for like 9 years, 22 interceptions. And when I got the chance to get hold of one of these, I was a lot of research, and this is the prize in our ultimate competition.
And I'm right in thinking this isn't something you can buy. There's only one of these.
Oh no, there's only one game ball presented to Brian Kelly for that game. That's it. How it happened was when some players finish their careers, they don't really take bothered about mementos and things like that. And he basically had a sale, and the money went to charity, and he sold a number of these game balls off, and this is one of them.
So the ultimate prediction competition, you have to pick at the beginning of the season how many games you think we're going to win, how many tackles you think the D's going to get, how many yards are our QB's going to throw for. We used to have attendance and how many people would turn up and watch the Bucs. Probably not going to do that one this year.
That'll be an easy one.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a low number, sadly. So we'll come up with something different to that. We'll probably do something like points scored. And so that competition is going live on the forum for the members in the next 48 hours. So if you're not a member, if you're in the UK and you like the Bucs, why on earth not? But go to our website, www.bucsuk.org, click on join and get yourself signed up. Then head over to the forum and sign up for that as well, and then you can join the competition. It runs all season long. And then there's a cracking mini helmet there from different angles, Phil. What's that one about?
Well, we have two competitions, don't we? The losers and the winners competition, where they're eliminated. So what we've decided to do this year is we've got 2 mini helmets as prizes. One is signed by a number of players. I know Shelton Quall signed it. William Goldson, because he seems to sign everything. Cameron Bray, Matt Gay, and things like that. And the other one, for the losers one, is the one signed by Simeon Rice before the Carolina game next year. So we've got all that coming up, and we've also got other few surprises as well. We've got the weekly competitions, which will be a Bucs UK T-shirt, which we obviously haven't put on sale yet because we want it for the competition.
Go on, Alex, show us yours again.
As modelled by Alex here. There we go. And we've also got a very, very snazzy mug, which the 3 of us have been involved in designing. And so, yes, we're going to have some really nice prizes this year.
So just to be clear, so that's the ultimate competition runs all season long. That signed helmet, there'll be another signed helmet. So that'll be run for half the season each. And the weekly competitions are the T-shirts, the mugs, and other bits and pieces as well.
Yeah.
So that's at least 19 prizes, 20 prizes.
Yeah.
And we'll be running fantasy football leagues, which will also have prizes as well. And this is Prize City, and you need to get a part of this, guys.
I mean, the other thing we're going
enjoying
to do
myself.
this year, the other thing we're going to do this year is that we're going to have a trophy for the Fantasy League. So we're going to have one winner, and we're going to make sure we have a trophy for them to keep as well, not to send back because we never get them back.
So again, if you've not been part of that before, what we do is we usually use Yahoo Football and we set up a number of leagues, all of which are, there's not like a Premier League, or if we call them like Alpha 1 and Premier or whatever. They're all the same, and each of those has a winner of that league, and they get a sort of small prize. But as Phil's saying, if you want to be in with the trophy, that will be the winner of the final of finals across all of the leagues for the ultimate bragging rights.
Plus, we'll also find something pretty damn tasty to go with it as well. So, you know.
Absolutely. So, got to be in it to win it. And as if that wasn't enough, we also have another offer. We've teamed up with a chap called Michael, and he runs a online merch shop called Custom Bucs Designs. You can see he's got some really good stuff there. I'm modelling some really funky stuff that he was kind enough to send me. And because he loves us and he thought it was brilliant that we have a UK fan club, he's got a 10% discount running for about just over a week. If you go into the checkout and add Bucs UK as your code, you get 10% off on his designs. As you can see, there's lots of different pirate-themed stuff, even down to socks and masks and all the other bits and pieces. So thank you, Michael, for offering that for us. And now we will hear a little bit from one of our members. So again, we asked members to send in videos. Now we've got Steve. You heard Steve earlier, Steve Gargett, say a few things. Now he's going to talk a little bit about how he enjoyed joining the club and what he likes about the club. And then after that, we've got a little short ditty sort of promoting the club. And if you're a Star Wars fan, then we think you'll like it.
Hi, my name's Steve Gargett. Live in County Durham in the northeast of England. I've followed American football since the mid-1980s. I've been a Bucs supporter for over 30 years and a member of the Bucs UK for over 20 years. Been fortunate enough to see the Bucs play in Tampa 5 or 6 times. Also seen them play in Gillette Stadium, Giant Stadium. On all occasions, tickets received were through the Bucs UK, who have a tremendous relationship with the front office at One Buc. Bucs UK have gone from strength to strength over the last 4 or 5 years. Number of members increased significantly. We try and get together once, twice a year, but unfortunately not going to happen this year due to the COVID situation. But we will be keeping in touch through the message board, which spring to life on game day, normally 6 o'clock Sunday evening. But of course this year with late games, 9:30 and prime time, 1:30 Monday morning, it's going to be slightly different. If you are a Bucs supporter, live in the UK, join the Bucs UK. It'll be the best few pounds you spend this year. Cheers.
So we hope you enjoyed that, and we're hoping to have something similar to that each week for you, just to get a bit of interest. And we're also going to hear from another member, Ian Costain, at the end of the show, so hang around for that as well. However, the second half of the show then, so we've talked about the NFC South, and now it's on to the rest of the NFL to see kind of who we think we hate the most there, really. Who are our fiercest rivals across the rest of the NFL? Alex, maybe if we start with you. Who do you think is your non-divisional rival?
I think the Philadelphia Eagles have got to be up there for quite obvious reasons. If we go back to our Super Bowl winning season and the season before that, we met them in the playoffs. If I remember correctly, the first year they knocked us out of the playoffs, and then the season we won the Super Bowl, we knocked them out of the playoffs. So there's certainly some rivalry that comes from that one. But I do think, I must say, I think it's more the Eagles that are a bit salty about that than we are, because I don't think we really discuss the Eagles as rivals as Bucs fans in general. But Eagles fans seem to like to mention it quite a bit. Certainly on Twitter, I seem to see a lot of it. A lot of them saying about the Bucs on Twitter. So maybe they're still feeling a little bit raw about that one. But yes, definitely, I think Eagles have got to be up there.
People agree with Eagles?
Yep, definitely. Yeah, I think they beat us 2 years in a row in the playoffs before we actually
did two.
took
Did two.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Hammers us 2 years in a row.
You can tell I'm still a fairly new Bucs fan, can't you? I got a little bit of that right.
We didn't just knock them out of the playoffs; we knocked them out of their stadium at the end.
Yes,
I was gonna
last
say-
game in the vet.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
so of course we did. Yes, of course we did. Yeah.
I think there's what really rattles the Eagle fans is, weren't we the team with the last game in Vet Stadium?
Yeah,
and then we
That's
beat
right. Yeah.
then we beat them in the first game in their new
Correct.
stadium.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yep.
Yes.
Brilliant. I like that choice. It's going to be hard to top that one already. Phil, who have you got as your first selection?
well, mine's more of a personal thing, and mine's the Dallas Cowboys. One of the first games I went to when I started following the Bucs was Dallas in Tampa, and we lost and you're there tailgating before the game, and I've never seen a more arrogant bunch of fans in my life than this lot, and it sort of stuck with me all the way through. And to make matters worse is we were playing it was the days of Aikman and Irvin and Smith and all those. They beat us with the last throw of the game. So to me, they really are, sort of.
We don't play them that often, though, do we? It's not very often we play them.
No, very rarely. But I just wrangled with me ever since. I think. It was
Graham,
Not that
Cowboys?
you bear a grudge or anything, Phil. No.
no. Yes.
Yeah.
The reason I hate the Cowboys is because they always get a Thanksgiving game. I hate Detroit for the same reason. It's just not fair. I want to see the Bucs play on Thanksgiving. It's not fair.
And this title, America's Team, as well. That really rankles with me as well. It's sort of self-opinion appointed America's Team.
Okay, so I said it was going to be hard to beat, but I think we've already surpassed it. Same division, though. Interestingly,
I'm kind of going old school again, and I'm back to the Green Bay Packers. My first NFL game was in the big sombrero against the Packers. There was about 50,000 crowd there, and more than half of them were Green Bay Packers fans. So, like Phil, bad experience with the fans. Fortunately, in that game, the Buccaneers won 31-3. But the beer was flying, the punches were flying. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But since that day, I've just detested them. I think the rivalry grew as we became a better team through the Tony Dungy era. And thinking back to the great Warren Sapp and Brett Favre rivalry over those years, just really cemented it for me. I think it's been a fantastic rivalry, and that's the one game that I always want us to win. That's a must.
They were the ultimate competitors, both of them, and they just wouldn't keep going.
Yeah, fantastic.
And it's one of those things. It was the jinx. Again, I started supporting the Bucs in '89, so I had plenty of NFC Central years. And I just remember pre-game of every show, Bucs at Green Bay would be opening shot, temperature gauge with caption, "Bucs never win when it's a bit chilly," and I just it just drove me crazy again.
Yeah. And going back to the Eagles, that was another thing we got off our backs against the Eagles, wasn't it? That was the first game we won to get rid of the temperature thing, wasn't it? Yeah.
Maybe it's like the kicking curse. We've overcome the temperature curse. It happens eventually.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good choice. Good choice, Graham. I like that one. Alex, who have you got as your second selection?
Well, I've been a bit naughty with this second selection because it's more two teams really. I hope I can get away with that. So it's Miami and Jacksonville, but that's because of you got to have sort of a state rivalry. I'd say really, who's sort of the boss of Florida, if you like. So I always like it when we play Miami and Jacksonville. Obviously, it's not often, but when we do, it's always nice just to think, oh yeah, we want to be the guys who are the best in Florida.
But Alex, then, if you had to pick, Miami or Jacksonville, who's the one that's the best rival, do you think?
I'll make this one personal then. I'll go Miami, just because when I first started following the NFL, I picked a team to follow, and I wasn't aware of the Bucs. It was 2010 that I started actually following the NFL, and I thought, oh, Florida, I like that state. Oh, there's Miami. I like Dolphins as well, so I just went for Miami. And then obviously, changing over to Tampa now, so, I just don't like Miami anymore. So I'll choose Miami Dolphins purely based on that. But that's all I've got for you on that one.
And Phil, who's your Florida hatred strongest for?
It's a strange one. It's the Ravens. I love history of the NFL and all that, and I never sort of got on with the fact is that 1 minute the Cleveland Browns, the next minute the Baltimore Ravens, and so I've always sort of had a bit of a dislike for them, but which is actually made even worse was when I attended Super Bowl 35. And I had to sit next to this Ravens fan who had a raven on his head, one on each shoulder, and was blind drunk, and was basically headbutting me every 5 minutes with this damn raven. I thought, if everybody wanted to actually just cement this absolute pure hatred of a team, you've managed to do it within 3 hours of a game. Dear me, it was dreadful. I was on the very, very back row of the stand. I just wish he just. I thought once he was going to fall over backwards, and I think I would have helped him as well.
My second choice is going to be Chicago. I'm staying in the old black and blue division. Again, grew up with those, watching and listening to those rivalries on the internet and then on the radio back in the day. And again, so many, the snow geese they call them, the Chicago natives who lived in the Tampa area, and as soon as the tickets went on sale, about 40,000 people from Chicago would be buying tickets for our stadium. And you hate watching a game when you're being out-shouted and out-supported by away fans. So I really developed a dislike of Chicago, Kevin Butler and all these guys, still enjoy playing them and giving them a good beating. Never very many high-scoring games, usually pretty tight, low-scoring affairs with proper black and blue stuff.
I find it really hard to hate Chicago. Just because the amount of money they gave Mike Glennon. They just deserve all the sympathy.
More pity than anything else, yeah.
What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I have to admit, one of my very close ones was also Chicago, and that was cemented by the fact is that's the last time I saw the Buccaneers play was in Chicago a couple of years ago when, I saw Chicago play, the Buccaneers didn't bother. Yeah. I'm not very far behind you on that one, Graeme. I have to admit it was between Baltimore and Chicago. They really are. But yes, you are right. About the snowbirds, they are snowbirds.
That's right. So again, we asked our members what was their view on this, and Dom, I've had to asterisk him out. He felt so strongly about this. 49ers for me. When I first started following the Bucs, the only shirts you could buy in England were 49ers, Giants, and Raiders, and that was true. They didn't even have real players on them either. And everyone around Derbyshire seemed to wear a 49ers one, and he's a postman, so he probably delivered them to them. And they won every week, says Dom. So I think, so kind of harking back to where it was when you first started supporting. And then we also have Andy Harwood. A bit like you, Alex, I look forward to the Floridian rivalries, playing the Jags and the Dolphins. Nothing better than getting one over on your local franchises for Florida bragging rights. And without stating the obvious, 50 American states, 32 NFL teams, Florida gets 3. We are being a little bit greedy there. It's definitely the case. And then Jake, he says he agrees with us. Has to be the Eagles, given the drama it produced. NFC Champion game, the greatest game in Bucs history. And we also clinched our first ever playoff win against them in 1979. So top bit of trivia. And then David Cambridge, who's on holiday. We miss you, David. Hope you're having a lovely time in the Isle of Wight. Has to be the Bears. So he agrees with you, Graeme. They were the team to beat when I started watching the NFL with the fridge, etc. Having been there, I love Soldier Field in the city. Purely about football, the Eagles, we got to close down Veterans Stadium. So I think there's actually, it's probably more consensus on the rest of the NFL than there is in our division.
Yeah. A lot of people with a lot of years watching American football and a lot of opinions, I think, there. No,
I think the Division One's interesting, though, isn't it? Because it's for different reasons. In terms of our division, my hatred is for the Falcons because it was the first game I saw the Bucs play at the Ray J, and we lost 24-23. Josh Freeman, it was 2012. Josh Freeman was quarterback. Matt Ryan was quarterback. Another reason why I don't like Matt Ryan. I think it depends on your experience of when you see the Bucs play and that sort of thing. So we're all going to have different answers on the division on that basis. I think.
I think that divisional rivalry is the interesting one because you've basically got 4 teams in one division, and we're all surmising they're going to go a certain way. But Carolina have got Bridgewater, they're on the rebuild. Is Breeze going to turn up for another year? We're going to be as good because Pete Payne keeps telling
for a
me
while, it was always back to front, wasn't it? Whoever went bottom went top the next year.
Yeah.
The Saints have bucked that trend for a few years, but I kind of liked that about our division. It's certainly close. I think it's certainly one of the closest divisions.
It's a really interesting shout, that our division. Yeah, it always has been competitive, but this year is going to be a real interesting year.
And best of all, it's a divisional game right out the bat, week 1, as we've said, the Saints. And our next episode will be previewing that game. We are going to pore over all of the permutations and work out what the Bucs UK thinks going to happen. So please do join us for that. And we're hoping also to have a guest on board with the show as well. So if that comes off, then it'll be a bumper episode to watch. Which just leaves me to thank Alex, Phil, and Graeme. Thank you all very much for joining the show. You've been brilliant.
Thank you.
And thank you, of course, for you guys watching, listening, whether you're on YouTube, where we've had over 1,000 views now on our episodes to date. I mean, that just set my eyeball spinning. And even on Spotify and Apple and all that sort of stuff, it's all going really well. So we don't take it lightly. We appreciate you giving us 45 minutes of your attention. It's very much appreciated. But we want to feature what you want us to talk about. So if you think you've got some views about what's going to happen in the Saints game, then do send us a video. You can mail that video to mail@bucsuk.org, or you can WhatsApp it to 07311 212 713. Hopefully the magic will make that appear down there at some point. And, on the forum, give us some feedback. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. Tell us what you think is going to happen against the Saints. Once we get into the season, these episodes are going to come a bit more thick and fast. So we'll be reviewing what happened in the last week's game and previewing what happens what we think is going to happen in the upcoming game. We want your support. We want your views. It's not just us waffling on. So thank you all very much. And we look forward to seeing you soon for episode 6. Bye.
Hi, I'm Ian Costain, big fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When the NFL first came on the TV in the 1980s, I was pretty dismissive of it, really. All these shoulder pads and everything and helmets, what was that all about? But in 1989, I was on holiday in Florida with my dad, and we thought, let's go to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. They were at home to a team called the Chicago Bears. So in 1989, that was my first game. 11 touchdowns later and a 42-35 win for the Buccaneers, and I was hooked. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was definitely the team for me because I'm a lifelong Blackpool fan, and 1, they're by the sea. 2, creamsicle, tangerine, similar colour. 3, both generally pretty Anyway, on the forum, I'm Seasider UK, and I've been a member of the Bucs UK since 2003. Very lucky that I've been able to get over to Tampa to quite a few games. And in 2004, I was able to take my little boy at the time to his first game in Tampa. he's now 21.
So I'm a Bucs fan and a Blackpool fan, so I've clearly got a lot to thank my dad for there. In 2006, I was 7 years old, and I went to the Buccaneers against the Eagles in Tampa. We're in the end zone with all the Bucs UK lot, and it finished with a 62-yard winning field goal as time expired from Matt Bryant, which I actually do remember. And the whole place just went mental. And that was the first of many memories with guys from the Bucs UK.
Okay, so I've been a member of the Bucs UK for, goodness me, 17 years now, and it's really just got better and better and better all along. Made some great friendships over the years, and the club, as I say, has gone from strength to strength thanks to the great efforts of Kieron and Phil and David, who not only put a lot of time and effort into making the club what it is, but also show great leadership as well. As other people have said, being Bucs fans is about group therapy, and I've been lucky that I've been able to go over to Tampa to see the Bucs on quite a few occasions. And as those of us that have gone over from the Bucs UK know, the group therapy are the beers afterwards. And Selman's Bar in Tampa was our favourite place to go after the games. Sadly, it closed down 2 years ago, but lots of great memories. And in fact, when it closed down, my wife saw that they were selling off some of the pictures from the walls of Selman, so I actually am the kind of proud owner of a picture that was up in Selman's Bar in Tampa. And as I say, it's a great memento, brings back so many happy memories. But now we must look to the future. We've got a 43-year-old quarterback. We've got Rob Gronkowski, who's hardly played in 2 years. So, hey, what could possibly go wrong? Go Bucs.